Hi.
Hello.
What we do here in the GHL business launch is help people who are in a certain stage of their business growth
Mhm.
find the right path and avoid the wrong path. Um,
It's
so
important.
yes, thank you, Shane. That's exactly right. The issue is it's very easy to be distracted by all of the bright shiny objects.
Yeah.
Um, and and so we have three dollar value hack points or price points. Price points is not the right word. Income points, revenue levels. There we go. Um, but if you're somewhere else in the world, the numbers might be different. So we're talking in US dollars in the current US economy. But the numbers are probably different if you're in South Africa versus if you're in Equatorial Africa versus if you're in Equatorial Brazil. Um,
Mhm.
versus if you're in Argentina. The numeric values are different, but the tiers are the same. And the tiers are if your business is 10K a month plus in recurring revenue or consistent revenue, your business is stable, profitable, probably profitable. If it's not profitable, then it's an issue we can't help you with because you need a chief financial officer. If you're making that kind of money and you're not profitable, there's some issues with your KPIs. Um, but generally, if you're at that level and above, your business is ready to scale. You've got some systems and processes. You just need to refine them and you need to scale your business. Between 10K and 3K a month, or your local equivalent, you have a business that really is you as the business owner owning a job. You're hustling to try to create enough income on a consistent basis to be able to take home a stable, consistent income.
For
Um,
sure. Yeah.
and in that window, we help people. That's especially where that's actually where the illusion of permanence becomes an issue. Because a lot of times people will get to partway through that into that cycle and they're kind of getting some income coming from here and some from here and some from the other place and it's working out okay, but they're constantly shifting back and forth and they're distracted, and it's because they have a false sense that they must continue to do everything that they're currently doing. And so the illusion of permanence is that gets you off the road that you should be on is you're doing something just because you've always done it, and maybe it's no longer serving you. And so the reason
Mhm.
we help people discard the illusion of permanence, and the way it applies to the conversation with you here to Shane today is if you've been doing a SaaS model, so if you have a couple SaaS clients and a couple of affiliate model clients and a couple of like agency services clients, the illusion of permanence is that you have to continue doing all of those. And maybe you need to shift to more of a SwaS model that Shane's going to talk about today. From 3K down to 1K, or 3K down to 0K, so you just barely have income coming in. Your business is in the hustle mode, and you're not even making enough money to take money out of the business and live off of. Um, and what gets people stuck here is very often the ditch of the shiny object syndrome. And people, because they're in this hustling mode, they're trying that good idea and there's a good idea and they're jumping back and forth and they're never giving any one of them enough time to actually start working. Um, and they start
Very true.
grasping at straws and they're trying really hard to make something happen and nothing ever happens because they never stay on any one path long enough. So we have these twin ditches. We have this shiny object syndrome that keeps people from making any progress, and we have this illusion of permanence, which keeps them from discarding things that are no longer helpful and focusing on the ones that are working. And so what we're trying to help people is find the path for them. There's still going to be obstacles and hurdles and
Yeah, there's no perfect way
potholes,
to go about it. I mean,
right? Um, and so that's what we're trying. So what we do with our Monday training here is we try to give people a sense of what the options are, so that not so that they can be chasing all the options, but so that they can take those options as a mirror and say, what am I actually good at? What do I want to do? And who do I want to help using those skills? Um, because if you haven't had that self-reflective moment, then you get distracted by other shiny objects. Because somebody says, well, I'm making X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing this. Well, that seems like a good idea. And the way they describe it seems really simple. And Shane, you just said it's not perfect. They're showing you the surface, they're showing you the poster. It looks simple, but behind it, there's a whole bunch of work. This other person is making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing some other business model, and you look at it from the outside and go, "That's really simple. Let me do that." And they're masking some of the complexities, and not maliciously. They're just trying to help. They're trying to be helpful, sharing their experience. But if their experience is the wrong experience for you, then following that advice is a shiny object that's derailing you from the journey you should be on. Okay,
totally agree.
so um, so for our audience, Shane Boulds is a digital marketing and business automation expert. He has over 2 decades of experience in sales. As the founder of New Clients, he helps local businesses transition from traditional sales methods and models to effective digital strategies. Well, my goodness, my screens are all jumping around on me. There we go. Shane specializes in optimizing online presence through Google Business Profile optimization enhancements, customizing the digital, also providing customized digital visibility reports and enhanced lead generation techniques. His innovative approach includes developing smart sites for seamless customer engagement and leveraging SEO to drive organic traffic. Shane's expertise is invaluable in helping businesses who are seeking to modernize their sales and marketing efforts for sustainable growth. So, thank you, Shane, for choosing to participate in this
Absolutely.
conversation.
Glad to
Um,
do it.
could you could you go ahead and introduce yourself? Give us a brief background of your marketing experience, your sales experience, and how HighLevel plays into that background.
Okay. Uh, so I graduated from college in the late 80s and to, took a traditional path, moved to San Francisco and, kind of went through a series of jobs as people will when they get out of college. Ended up in kind of software um, and back in those days, early 2000s, software as a service. And when I say software as a service, I'm not in this instance not really talking about HighLevel, but talking about something as like Salesforce. You know,
Okay, and HighLevel didn't exist.
no, didn't use it.
The
Wish it would have.
concepts of what we're taught, the
No,
tools
I
that we
mean,
have
would have
now
it would have
in the
saved me. Actually,
yeah.
back in the early 2000s, when I first got a cell phone, the idea of texting anybody seemed ridiculous.
Hmm.
And now, now we text far more than we talk, or at
Hmm.
least I do.
Yeah.
Um, kind of did my time in both software and healthcare sales, large enterprise. Some of my customers were Ford, Walmart, a few other big grocery store chains, selling also pretty much software as a service or content as a service, in addition to software as a service for a plugin, for a forecasting plugin, for instance, that worked on the back end of Salesforce. probably probably held about 6 or 7 different software jobs in that time. Kind of really chaotic, either between either between layoffs or business models not working out, or you know spending too much of their budget, and so forth. It was a fairly tumultuous time, and just you know just kind of got to be ridiculous. So I thought, well, isn't there something else I can do to work on my own so that I don't have to go through layoffs and so forth all the time? And found this business model. Um, Initially, when I started, I worked with I bought into a program that offered all the training that I still belong to this day. But as you move along your journey, you need to concentrate on generating revenue and getting clients, as opposed to, one of those shiny objects can be going to too many seminars. I
Yeah,
find that when I do,
yeah.
I probably take a half hour off, but before, and I take a half hour off after, and that's, so you can get 3 or 4 hours of your day just gone.
Mm-hmm.
What you really need to concentrate on is to generate that business. And so you just want me to summarize my journey. So I started about 5 years ago with new clients, got through all the training, have kind of found myself in med spas.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's really important, so you can kind of stay away from those shiny objects, is that you kind of pick an area that you want to specialize in. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to just specialize in selling, you know, basic, you know, G Google business profile optimization. Uh, Now voice AI is a big thing that I think a lot of people should jump on, because it's
Mm-hmm.
past the skateboard product. Um, and then and then figure out one area that you want to work with. If it be med spas, it kind of fell into that for me. Um, Look at me, I'm not typically the guy glamour model, but I have you know made it my do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of research.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference that will set you apart. You really need to get to a level where you understand their business as well as they did, and that you could step in and run it if you needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think research is what will separate the men from the boys in this space.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, um, best place to, so you specialize in that, you maybe get your list scraped, because if you have their first name, you have an advantage, I think. And so if you get a few clients on just your basic calendaring, profile optimization, review automation, chat widget, just the basic go high level services, then you also have kind of a lake that you can fish from, where you can sell them add-on services such as running ads. And that's particularly helpful if you have some other customers that are producing revenue. You can say, hey, look at what I'm doing here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good way to, you know, you can start with a lake and build it into, something more.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get SaaS clients, you have their website, you have their whole database, you have their appointment system, and so forth. They're virtually never going to leave you. You're their right hand. And I have several clients that way. I don't need to check on them very often, maybe every couple months after a period of time. Of course, getting to that point takes a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of value in kind of both models.
Mm-hmm.
One, the revenue on SaaS is, from probably 97. I charge 97 if it's a solopreneur, for, to without calendar.
Mm. Oh,
Uh,
interesting. Mm-hmm.
if they're a solopreneur with a calendar, it's 167 a month. And then if it's more than 2 or 3 users, it's 267 a month. So the revenue is not as good as opposed to my clients that I'm running ads for, software with a service. That would include running running Facebook ads, doing database reactivation, I'm charging them anywhere from 1,500 to a couple $1,000s a month to do that. But they don't tend to stick around as long. I've
Mm,
been really lucky that I have a client or two that I've had for almost 4 years now, and I don't have to do very much. The money just comes in month after month after month. But along the way, I have had a lot of even if you're running ads, it is higher risk. I have now a lot of tools that I can actually test how viable the ad is and the offer is before I send it out. That's worked very well. And also a lot more automation using AI. So the chances of success are better. But, um, you know, even if you do everything completely right with running ads with software as a service, you can still miss the mark. And
hmm.
so it's very important to set the expectation right. If they can't see doing it for at least 3 months, you might want to think about moving along,
Yeah.
frankly. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but that's kind of
Yeah.
that's kind of my
Um,
business in a nutshell.
yeah, I think that's totally that totally gets to what I'm asking for setting the context and uh suddenly um Zoom is asking me what language I speak. Um do you know
Swahili, obviously,
do you know what we call somebody that speaks two languages? I told this joke last week.
bilingual,
Yeah. What do we call somebody that speaks three languages?
trilingual,
Sure, four languages or more,
quadlingual.
multilingual, something like that. What
Yeah.
do you call somebody that speaks only one language?
Um, an American.
An American.
I
Yeah. All right.
got a
So,
story about that. Anyway, for another time.
okay, fair enough. So I I don't think that the nine business models, that framework that I have is like magic, or that I created something that's like totally um life-changing to anyone. But again, I use the look in a mirror and self-evaluate. What do I want to do? The point of the framework is to provide yourself a way to see all of these different shiny objects and evaluate whether that particular shiny object is one that's something you want to chase, you want to participate in. So I'm going to go through the nine models in a particular order because of the conversation we're having with Shane today. Um, we're going to end up back at business model 4. So business model 9 is software developers, people who are actually writing code to solve technical problems. So HighLevel does many things, but there's some gaps in the way it does some of them. And so there are people who are writing code that plug those gaps. Those would be business model 9. There's also things that HighLevel doesn't do, but you can write an integration so that now somebody's HighLevel app now has additional capability. That would be a business model 9, writing that app. And later in this series, I'm going to talk to somebody who does software development, um, because we're going to talk about how the pros and cons of that business model if someone has the skills to have that business model. I've never had a business model client because I don't have that level of coding skills. Business model 8 is somebody who's providing technical support services. So either to an end user, someone who's using HighLevel, but HighLevel support won't help them solve a particular kind of problem. A third-party support agency might be the solution. Also, these third-party um, teams, companies, provide support to agencies who have business model 3, 4, 5, 6 clients, but don't have the technical skills or the capacity to provide all the technical support. So Shane was talking a little bit about checking in with your clients and making sure that their problems are being resolved. Um, and someone can have a business model agency as their backup for that kind of role. Or you can be a business model eight. So if you're more of a technical person than someone who writes ads or writes content, maybe that's a better path for you using HighLevel. Business model seven, that's kind of like what we're doing here. It's coaching, advising, teaching how to run a business using HighLevel. Um, it's more like the touchy-feely part of business model eight. Business model one and two are the affiliates. So HighLevel's way to promote their own business is through the affiliate commission. So HighLevel wants us as HighLevel agencies to recruit people directly to a subscription to HighLevel itself, and that's through the affiliate model. Um, when HighLevel was originally created, it was created because of a need for what I call business model six, the traditional marketing agencies. So we had advertising agencies, which Shane's going to talk about. We had social media marketing agencies. We had SEO agencies. We had web design agencies who were doing work on behalf of clients, and the clients couldn't see the results. So HighLevel came along in 2017, 18, sometime in there, and said we can create a connection, a speed to lead between when that marketing activity generates a lead and when the client sees a result because their phone is ringing, because a contact is in their system and has already gotten a follow-up text message. That was the problem that HighLevel was originally solving, and they were selling it to agencies through the affiliate model. When Shane and I met, and we're going to talk next week with the marketing partner, um, people were using HighLevel the way it was designed, but they were having the clients sign into HighLevel and do some of the interaction with the client through the software. This is what I call business model five, the marketing partner. As they were doing that, some of them started transitioning to where they weren't even actually doing the marketing activity for the client. They were handing the software to the client. The client had their own marketing department or their own marketing person who would actually do the social media content, do the blogging, do the email marketing. And the HighLevel agency was simply providing the tools, the software as a service. So they were servicing the software. They weren't servicing marketing agency activities. And HighLevel watched their user base doing this, and they said, "Oh, we need to create SaaS mode so that the HighLevel agencies can do what they are already doing more efficiently and more profitably." Along comes this conversation the reason that I came up with the nine business model framework in the first place was um, sometime in the 2023 timeframe, there was this debate going on in the HighLevel world about, well, you shouldn't be in a SaaS mode because SaaS is just dumping this set of tools that's already complex into an already overloaded small business marketing department. Instead, you should be providing services. You should do SwaS, software with a service. And there became this whole semantics debate about what is SaaS versus what is SWAS, and it's really immaterial. The point is, for someone who wasn't in it, for someone who's watching this debate going back and forth, suddenly you have these shiny objects, and you're just overwhelmed of where do I want my agency to go? So the point of the nine business model framework is to say both of those are valid business models. Both of the affiliate models are valid business models, and the marketing partner and the marketing agency are valid business models. What business do you want to be in? That's the question. Don't do it because someone else said to do it. Do it because it's right for you. So the conversation I want to have with Shane in the next 30 minutes or so is what is SWAS? So the service part of SaaS and the service part of SWAS is still there. When you provide this client with a set of tools, you have an obligation to provide technical support and service, whatever the agreement you gave to that person. Now, you can use a business model eight outside agency as a third party to help you do that. Or if you have them subscribe directly to HighLevel, you can have them contact HighLevel support to do that. But either way, you have to service that the technical part of the client. The SwaS is how do you get results for the client? Because what we're talking about so far is giving them tools and they still haven't gotten a result. The with a service is it was originally within the HighLevel world, it was talking about this database reactivation concept, which was when someone signs onto your SwaS and uploads their current contact list, most of those contacts are going to be old, stale clients. What if you immediately send emails and text messages to them, re-engage all of those people, re-energize the relationship with all of those people, and generate revenue for the client very quickly while the marketing agency, business model six stuff, the SEO, the content marketing, the email marketing, just take time to build. The nurturing kind of emails more take time to build. But SWAS doesn't mean only database reactivation, re-energization. It's also content creation. So if you have a service software with a service where you say, because I'm specialized in lawn care, I have this prepackaged set of emails or prepackaged set of blog posts or prepackaged set, and I can produce content in that niche very quickly, very rapidly to get results for you. That would be a with a service kind of construct. Um, and on the thumbnail, well, so yeah, no, I'll go ahead and say it. So another kind of thing is Shane just talked about, yeah, I talked about enough of them. Shane just talked about um, a lot of people should be jumping on the AI receptionist bandwagon. So AI as a virtual receptionist, AI as a virtual customer service agent is totally a viable business model right now. That would be a software with a service. Um, so all of that context is to ask Shane, um, what portion of your business then falls in the SWAS software with a service category, and what does that look like from a day-to-day or from a what is your client getting from your service that they wouldn't get if they just subscribed to HighLevel in business model one?
Leads. Leads. And that is a combination of highly targeted ads on Facebook, or actually it's kind of a mistake to highly target things. You should let Facebook really find male or female. My targeting is male or female, and then the miles from the business, easily, 10, 12, 15, and then the age range. And I let Facebook's algorithm, that's a lot smarter than I am, figure out the rest.
Figure out the rest.
And then also you need to test those. There's a few other tricks, a few AI tools I have to run them through that kind of really ensure that you're getting good results. So I would say that about 70% of my business is, SWAS, offering that service to people. In my niche has kind of been med spas or, health related. Just kind of fell into that. Although, yeah, as I said earlier, you need to be able to kind of talk the talk. You need to do some research so you understand their business. And then you can also show them, results that you have running ads for other similar businesses. So it does make sense to niche down. I think that's important. It's hard to be all things to all people and understand what their hook is, but I know some very successful marketers that do. But just for the general person, less shiny objects. this is the niche I'm going to be in.
Mhm.
That way you can, get those names and numbers scraped that fit a
And,
particular dynamic.
and you can focus your studying because
Right,
because you have to get good enough at talking their talk
right.
that if you're just a generalist, um, I, for my own for the bald guy marketing agency, whichever side of it is, for my own agency, that honestly, that's my biggest struggle is because I don't have a specific niche. My niche is the people that I have face networking with,
Hmm.
um, and so I have good relationships with my clients, but I can't. My business is not scalable because of it.
Yeah, and in that case, like I mentioned, I just kind of fell into med
Mhm.
spas.
Mhm. I'm agreeing
Um,
with you that for most people
yeah.
who were t for the people who are watching this video, don't do what I do. Listen to Shane. That's the reason Shane's on this call.
Yeah, you can always switch niches. There's
You,
several
mhm.
tools that will allow you to do research into stuff. The kind of the problem is that you know, being able to charge a lot of money for services that you don't know are going to produce yet. You have to be able to kind of show people some results
Mhm.
and, kind of demonstrate that you know what you're doing and you can get similar results for them. So, um, that's why it's also good to, maybe start with just offering review automation and maybe, you know, uh, an AI employee or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, when we talk about the SwaS that I'm offering, be one, running Facebook ads, and then two, doing what we call database reactivation, where you're actually activating their database, people that they've done business with in the past via text messages. Um, Doing both can be really effective. Um, but there are also risks involved with
Mhm.
sending a lot of text messages. Your number can get banned, and registering those numbers and so forth, as you know, Keith, is not like falling off a log, unfortunately. So, so you
It
don't want to you
it
want to protect
it's
people.
a really good thing because it reduces the amount of people who are willing to go through that hoops to just be a spammer.
Yeah,
It means that the people who are willing to go through those hoops are legitimate businesses, but it definitely penalizes the legitimate businesses.
yeah. It's it's called HUP registration, and it's so much harder to get a number registered than it is to buy a
Mhm.
firearm that it would stun you.
Yeah.
But once you master it, it's not that much of an obstacle. First couple ones can be painful, however.
Mhm.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. So, there are people who are very successful with these SWAS, especially, I mean, the reason the SWAS became a term within the high level world was because of database reactivation, DR.
Mhm.
Um, there are people who are very profitable with it. Um, but the issue is there's also people who are claiming that they're in a SWAS. They say they've picked a niche, um, but they're not making money. They're not profitable. Um, um, why would someone pick the SWAS? So I'm going to ask it like a multi-part question, but it comes down to why should someone pick SWAS as either their primary or a significant portion of how they've structured their business? Um,
Um,
yeah, I guess I didn't even have to ask the other question, other parts of the question. That's good enough.
well, it's a way to, grow your business. I like having a combination of both because obviously the people that are just using Go High Level, as I mentioned, they're not going anywhere. Whereas SWAS, you can't send text messages to their whole contact list every, I would recommend you probably didn't do it, but once every 3 months or so. You can't be
Hmm.
sending that weekly. So there's a lot more, and there's a lot more, even if you really know what you're doing, there's risks involved. I consider myself pretty much expert level with both Go High Level and running ads, and I've even had campaigns fail,
Hmm.
mostly because I didn't set the correct expectation with the customer. Um, they probably didn't have the budget to work with me long term, etc. So
Hmm.
it's even if you know what you're doing, it's hard to get it perfectly right, which is why I think it's
Hmm.
good to have some people in both
Yeah.
buckets, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. We talked so far, everybody that I've talked to has talked about how they have a hybrid model, right? The None of the categories are exclusive. None of them say you must do this, you must do that. In fact, I've deliberately taken to drawing the chart with a dashed line between them because everybody's business has some little nuances. The framework is just intended to be a way to think about, am I doing what kind of service am I providing? Am I providing a software-based service or am I providing an agency service? Or am I literally providing just the software, supporting someone's use of the software? And it's really a DIY kind of setting. That's what the value of the framework from my perspective is, to know which you're talking about, because otherwise you end up confusing yourself as much as you confuse your audience. When you're talking about, I'm going to do this, you're going to get when we, especially because we tell people from a marketing perspective, you should talk about it from their results perspective. Well,
Mhm.
if you say you're going to get more leads, but you're selling the affiliate model or you're selling the pure software as a service, they have to do all the work. So yes, they're going to get more leads if they do the work. You're giving them the tools, but they have to do the work. Where with software with a service and software and the agency model, you say to the client, you're going to get more leads. It's the exact same statement, but Shane, you just said something really important. You said it's all about setting the expectations, because in the one setting, you're saying you're going to get more leads, but the expectation is the client is going to do the work. In the other setting, you say the same thing. You're going to get more leads, but you're actually committing to do the work. And I think that's really important. Um, so I just interrupted you, and I kind of
That's okay.
apologize for that, but I think it's to put a pin in the point that you just made. It's critical that people understand that the point that you just made is, um, none of this is it's only a particular way. It's what is working. How do you get results for your clients so that they're happy to keep paying you?
Right. Yeah, that's key. And that also, one of the good things about Go High Level is that because it can take at least a week to get their ads up and running and stuff like that. With database reactivation, i.e., text message marketing, maybe you can get them some quick wins right away until you get the ads going,
Hmm.
and optimized. So, you're adding value right away. So that's one thing to consider, I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
is that you're adding value in two different ways.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a great way to transition, frankly, because what you just described is some of the considerations in how to approach this business model. Um, when you're looking at because how do I provide a SWAS? How do I provide something that's going to get them some quick wins while I'm building out this capability that's going to give them some greater result? Um, what are some of the risk and benefits or the pros and cons of the software with a service approach to using high level to help somebody's business accomplish whatever it is that their business does?
Um, let's see. So the risk versus rewards of SaaS or
It's
SWAS.
Yeah. And this is a really good time because I know that one of the things that you and I have talked about is SwaS and SaaS in terms of the risk reward. I mean, this is exactly that point.
Okay, so SaaS, as I kind of mentioned, you're going to get, just offering calendaring, um, you know, automating their Google reviews, giving them a database where they have all our customers and they can email, it's lower revenue, but once you get them going, again, they're never going to leave you. If someone goes to their website and puts in their name, that name's going to go into your database and you can, and they're not going to leave you. You have their phone number, you have everything. So it's long-term predictable revenue stream from 1 to, say 300, maybe sometimes as much as 500 a month. Depends on, what you can get or what the value there is. The challenges for SaaS is, or for SwaS rather, is that the income is higher. You can charge from you know from at least 750 a month to maybe 2,000 a month, depending on
Mhm.
what the value of the services are that you're selling for them.
Mhm.
If 2,000 a month only represented, say, 10% of their income or 5% of their income for that month, they will gladly pay you that,
Yep.
and they will pay it to you forever. But getting it there and so forth is, it's not like falling off a log. It takes some expertise, some testing, some optimization, some setting expectations. Um, you know, you don't often get everything right on the first go. Um, as an example, recently I got really good results, but business wasn't showing despite having a very, very robust AI follow-up. I made the mistake of not gathering not getting a credit card, not making sure that they weren't tied down or taking a deposit. The lead cost will go up in that case, but they will show if they're giving you a credit card. So, again, and I probably could have set a better expectation that you need to give this at least 3 months. So I still work with the client, but those are things that I would do better on this one.
Mhm.
Uh, the benefits of this business are that you can work from anywhere and
Mhm.
that you're your own boss. You do need to, the pitfalls are that you need to prevent, um, you know, don't try to offer more than like 3 things, or to 3 different business models. You just don't want to do it. You want to be a specialized, and you want to know that the business that you're working with. Um, there's a lot technically to learn to get going with Go High Level. Once you do, it's great. But they keep bringing new stuff out, and you have to kind of keep up on that to some degree.
Mhm.
Also, AI has completely changed the world, both from how I do things on the back end, writing content, doing stuff like that, and both for follow up. That AI bots that I have in my automation are really good at following up, answering basic questions about things, and getting them to book the appointment, and keeping them involved. But there's also, it also took some time to learn that. So you're going to be learning all the time, and you also have to decide how much time you're going to dedicate to learning new things, and how much you're going to keep your blinders on and stay focused on, you know, kind of um, kind of the businesses that you want to help. Um, so it can be very lucrative for you if you get it right. You also have the flexibility to work for anywhere, and in my case, that's a big one. I have a aging mother that I have to go see every couple months, so I can work from my apartment here in San Francisco, or I can work from my mom's house in Boise, Idaho. Um, but yeah, it's this is not a get rich quick thing by any stretch of the imagination. It's very hard work. It's very tedious, and there can be a lot of frustrations with um, software is not perfect. It doesn't always work the way it's supposed to.
Mm,
So, you can expect that you're going to be stubbing your toes a little bit, getting started. But if you never quit, you'll never fail. So,
yep. Okay, awesome. So, a key advantage of the SaaS SwaS model together is the flexibility to support clients, but you're working from anywhere because you're supporting the software, and even the services that you're providing are remote services.
yeah, no, I mean, it works on autopilot. I've
Yeah,
got one campaign that's been running in two iterations for now 4 years.
yeah,
One ad.
yeah,
It's been running for that long.
yeah.
So, and I don't need to check on it very often. I'd probably check it about once or twice a week.
Uh-huh.
The leads on that have gone from sometimes it'll be $5 or $6 leads, and sometimes it'll go up as high as 10 or 11 or 12.
Hmm.
Um, but
But
it's all everything
they're
once
consistently high quality leads for the
it's
client.
always, yeah, it just spits the leads out. I've been working on some others with some new clients lately, so I haven't really checked in on that one. I just checked it today. And over the last 2 weeks, I think the leads or month, the leads have been about, $6 to $8. So that's
Hmm.
really good.
Yeah.
Um, and, if you are talking about lifetime value of a client, which is very important if you're going to do this business that you establish, how much, if somebody comes to your business, how much money are they going to spend with you throughout their
Yeah.
life?
Yeah.
Makes justifying your paycheck a lot easier. If you don't do that, the lead, your campaign gets off to a rough start, leads aren't showing up. You probably didn't set the expectation. Your campaign probably needs some tweaking, and you're probably not going to get the opportunity to do that if you didn't make sure they have at least 3 months of runway to work with you. So those are a
Yeah.
couple of the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. I think that really does address the question. You said the software isn't perfect. You're going to stumble in implementing the software.
Mhm.
Um, the learning curves are really steep, both the high level things, the application platforms, um, Facebook, Meta, Instagram,
Mhm.
um,
That's running ads is
Goop,
both an art and a science, really
and
is.
and and then there's the client relationship that it's a niche that you have the person, you know, especially if it's a niche where in your case the niche kind of found you. You kind of stumbled into that particular niche, and
Mhm.
now you're having to learn the history. If someone comes into this world, into the SWAS world, and they're a lawn care provider, and then they suddenly realize that they could help other lawn care companies. That saves them one level of learning, but they still have to learn all the how you do the technology things. Um, but I think you addressed the effort required. You said a couple times, this is not a quick get rich quick scheme. There's
Yeah, it's
there's a
not.
lot of effort
It's
required
not.
to actually produce, to get through those stages that I talked about, the 0 to 3,000 a month to the stable 3,000 to 10,000 income coming in, or whatever your local equivalent is. Um, awesome. Um, yeah. Um, I think this is that you've shared some really good information, and it helps our audience set expectations for themselves. And you said it's one of the key expectations is how you set expectations for your clients. Understanding yourself well enough to know what expectations you need to set for your clients. You said a couple times that 2 to 3 month or that 3 month ramp with the client of setting the expectation. This is going to have to go for at least a few months, if not 6 months to a year, before we know that we get a result, are going to get the kind of results we want for you, the client. Um,
Yeah, and
so
even
yeah,
if you have to give them a third month free to prove your results or something,
yeah,
if you get them on board and they're paying you $750 a month to run their ads and automate everything, and they're happy, they're getting leads, um, they're going to keep paying you. So it's really important once you get them to work like hell to make sure that you're successful, that you set the expectations that if your ad doesn't work right the first time, you have a backup, you have a second, third ad that you can try, and that they're good with testing it,
Yeah.
but the other key piece of advice is that I've learned is don't work with broke customers. Really, if they can't afford to pay you, or if they're not serious, you need to probably go find somebody that is.
Yeah.
Um,
So, um, so let me, I'm going to transition just a little bit here and talk and let you talk about new clients. So you've talked to for our shared audience of other high level agencies, um,
mhm.
how someone how someone makes that work. Um, Actually, Shane, I'm going to ask the question a little bit differently than I normally, or than I have it scripted in
It's a
my
trick
own
question.
head. Yeah, I'm going to turn it into a trick question. So, because you've done a really good job, I think, of articulating the kinds of things that you do for the way the with a service that you provide to your med spa clientele, your med spa niche. Um, Normally, what my scripted question is, if someone were to have sat through this conversation and say, I need Shane's help because I'm in Shane's niche market, what would that look like? And that's normally how I would ask the question right now, but I'm going to actually ask the question a little bit differently. If someone was a high level agent, so you can just answer it that way if you want, but I think you've kind of answered that way already. Um, if someone was a high level agency just starting out and they realized that Shane's with a service, the database reactivation and the Facebook ads specifically are the parts that they're struggling with. Um, how if so if, how would they get help from you? So if someone is a med spa, they're in your niche and they say, Shane has convinced me that he knows how to get me clients. I want clients for 4 years just coming in on a consistent basis. That rung my bell. That got my attention. That was a really compelling statement. Um, or if they're a high level agency that's starting out and they're going like, I need to know how to run ads. How do I, whether it's in the med spa niche or some other niche, how do I get a hold of Shane and get help from Shane to to solve one of those kinds of problems?
Oh, you could use the QR code right on the screen. That's will take you to my website where you could book an appointment with me. You could also look me up on Facebook. There's only one other Shane Boulds, and I'm actually distantly related to him. But I there's his profile has an airplane, so as long as it doesn't have a profile with an airplane, I'm pretty easy to find. Also, new clients net, which you can see on my background, is the name of my business, so you can find me, there as well. Um, you can send me a text or an email or book a time. Totally fine with you looking up, asking me questions on Facebook and so forth. That's fine. When you're starting out, there you're going to have a lot of questions, and we were in the same boat where we had to ask people a lot of questions, and so it's very much a community that is good with helping people, and so yeah, feel free to reach out to me if I can answer any questions, or you want to take a deeper dive into you know some of the tools I use and how that works. And um but basically, yeah, my advice would be pick a niche. It's the hardest thing is the shiny objects. You do have to stay up to date a little bit on what's going on, but don't get that shiny object syndrome, and then um plan on spending half your time generating business. And I have some pretty cool ways to do that too. So
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Shane. I appreciate you. I appreciate the interaction we've had over the last couple of years of helping each other, um, cheering other on a little bit, and and being kind of living in parallel,
Yeah.
going on. Um, yeah, we actually met in the community run by Amy Schultz and Alistair McCartney. Um, And so for the audience, that's who's going to talk next week. Um, so we've talked about business model one and two, the pure affiliate and the value-added affiliate models. We've talked about the SaaS model with Lavinia Meek last week. This week we're talking with Shane Bowles about the software with a service model. Next week we're going to talk with Alistair and Amy about the marketing partner, business partner, the outsourced marketing department kind of model. Um, and specifically, I asked them, so Shane and I know each other from their community where they're helping other people like us learn how to use HighLevel, primarily as a SaaS. And so part of the reason that I still participate in that community, but I'm doing GHL business launches, their focus is on how do you provide the service as a SaaS or as a marketing agency. And GHL Business Launch is this broader business model seven look at your business as a whole. But specifically, so the Profit Pact is the group that Amy and Alistair run. Specifically the reason I've asked them to come in and talk next week is they specialize from their own software, their own agency in the weird, wild, and wonderful. So where Shane has a niche that has found him, and he's focused in that niche and on the services that he provides to people in that niche, they take on the one-off, two-off kind of specialty kind of clients who need something very unique going on. So that's who we're going to talk with next week about the marketing partner model. I hope this is helpful. And you can contact us through the GHL Business Launch Facebook group or through our training program on Kollab, GHL business launch 2 on Kollab. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
Thank you very much.